Welcome to BIA, Canada's top black media provider. Whether you're looking for shows on fashion, art, music, or simple lifestyle, we bring you the best content the black community in Canada has to offer and so much more. And better yet, do you have an idea for a project you'd like us to help you with? We provide equipment, studio, and office space, as well as a team of dedicated individuals to help you bring those ideas to life. So don't wait. Check out our new website at biamedia.ca for more information on how to contact us and start creating today. BIA Media, your way.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the third installment of In the Black, Getting Black to Business. I am your host, Grant Lee Othniel Adams, and I am the president of Live Lending Group, Canada's best platform for unsecured commercial loans from $5,000 to $500,000 within 24 hours. Just a simple DocuSign application that lasts 6 to 12 months, a business bank or merchant statements to determine businesses' qualifications, qualified amount, and rate. And today, we have a special guest like every day or every Wednesday from 5 to 6. We have the prince of commercial and residential painting, okay? He does interior painting, exterior painting, kitchen cabinet refinishing, drywall finishing, plastering, epoxy flooring, okay? And wood stain and finishing too as well, right? His passion is so contagious. His motivation is like fire. I had to wear my Billy Ocean shirt to keep cool around him. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, it is Leonard Johnson from Red Oak Painting. Leo, how are you? Oh, good. I'm good. And yourself? What are you? Okay, hold on a second. I see you're wearing your branded shirt, and there's paint stuff in the back. Are you at work right now?
Yeah, I'm on site. One of my work sites today is we're painting a house in Oakville in the Toronto area. So we're over there finishing.
Okay, so we start this podcast at 5 o'clock because typically everyone's done work the day done for the day, and you're there in your work truck. You're still working, right? Like, do you sleep?
No.
Wow. Well, that's the life of an entrepreneur. That's amazing. Life of an entrepreneur. But I also like to give a quick shout out to BIA Media, Black and Action Media, for giving us this platform for us to celebrate our merchants. So shout out to them too, Luke and everybody involved. And so Leo, we've talked in the past, and you've had this business for how long now?
I've been in business now 10 years.
10 years, man. So you're at that critical point. I know as a person that's in lending that all our lenders and finance people, they look at 10 years as a milestone, as a threshold. Once you're at that 10-year mark, it's almost like you can't, well, not to say it's impossible to fail, but there's a lot of trust in your ability to just keep going. Like you've mastered it, that 10,000 hours, right? Right. Amazing. So tell me about your business. I know I introduced you, but tell me more about your business.
So I started Red Oak Painting in 2012. My daughter was born in July of 2012, and my company was born in March. So,
wow.
So this business was my first baby, and I treated it as such. I nurture this business. I care about it. It's like one of my children, and and it has been the economic force behind everything I've been able to do since I've been in Canada. So. I appreciate every client that I've ever had. I appreciate every bid or every estimate that I went on, even if I didn't get it. It just sharpened the tool that I have in terms of selling. And I appreciate any work that I've ever done because it just gave me more experience and increased my skill sets.
Okay. And you know what? There's something that, I have to, just as an entrepreneur that speaks to 80 to 120 entrepreneurs daily, there are a few things that you just mentioned that I realize that are key to entrepreneur success, and you mentioned appreciation and appreciate at least 8 different times in the last 12 seconds, right? And can you explain to me why it's so important to be appreciative?
Well, having gratitude, I think, well, in my opinion, having gratitude is one of the highest forms of self-love. So if you're going to be a person who is in business, you're going to have to appreciate all of the things that you do and all the things that you go through, because ultimately that's what drives your success. So even if you fail at first, or you come up short, or you miss the mark in some areas, the ability to keep going even when things aren't going your way,
Yeah.
that's how you get that. And when you on the other side of that situation, you begin to appreciate all of the times that things didn't go your way, all the times that you had to backtrack and redo something. So
Wow.
it gives you more insight into appreciation, and gratitude give you insight into what you could be and what you are and how much you can do as you go. So you get the chance to look back and see where you come from, and that gives you something to at least be thankful for, that you made it through. So that's how I look at things, and it's been the way that I've been able to accomplish all that I've been able to accomplish so far.
Amazing, amazing. I love that explanation. Honestly, I really do. And that humbled me too as well, because even earlier on today, I had spoken to you and I was like, oh man, all ththis deals and this and that, and I should just appreciate that I'm able to work on that level. So
Yeah,
uh,
man.
yeah. Now you mentioned another thing too, and I know all about this because I talk to contractors all the time. But you talked about bidding, right?
Mm.
What does that mean?
So you have a sales call, and then you have an estimate. For me, the way that I operate my business is, a sales call for me is when somebody calls and say, "Hey, we have a painting project that somebody who I know or I've done business with before, a client." And they say, "We have a project. We need you to come and take a look at it and give us a price." That's a sales call to me. An
Okay.
estimate to me is somebody, in my opinion, an estimate to me is somebody who I have not done work with in the past, and I go to their house or go to their establishment, and I give them we do a walk around, and I give them an assessment of what they have already, and then I take the information that I need in order to give them an estimate on what it would cost to do all of the work that they would prefer for me to do. So I'll
Hmm.
give you an example. I'm on a house now. The house is, let's say, 3,000 square feet. We're going to be painting around 2,400 square feet of that place.
Okay.
So I have to walk through all of that area, and I have to gauge. I have to measure baseboard lineal feet. I have to measure, window trim lineal feet. I have to measure wall footage and square footage, and those numbers give me an idea on how much material I need to buy, and how much labor is involved. And with that information, I'm able to give a price.
Yeah.
So when I give a price to somebody who I have not done business with, it's really a quote. So I'm quoting you, and that's, you turn an estimate into a quote. It's really the same thing, but
Yeah.
in order for me to operate business, I have to be able to compartmentalize and break things down. So for me, an estimate is different from a sales call. So it's just a way for me to kind of just differentiate between the two: people I've done work for in the
Yeah.
past, and I'm still doing work with, current and former clients, and people who I have not done work for yet, and I wish to do work for in the future. So those are potential clients.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. I must say that you're obviously an expert in what you do, because you just went. It was about 5 seconds of you talking about linear gauging, and I mean, obviously you're a paid expert. So now you did mention in terms of, and I like how you were able to separate the new clients or people just kind of, I don't want to call them tire kickers, but they're tire kickers, and the people that you work with that are somewhat serious and they know the caliber of your work and return to you because they trust your ability and they trust your quality. Now, what are your prices compared to other people? Like, would you say that you're kind of in the middle, or are you a bit higher, lower? Like, what would you say?
I don't. At one point, at one point when I was first starting out, the way that we priced things was really to get the work. So whatever price I
Mhm.
saw, I don't really like, when it comes to pricing. Uh, we are very rarely the lowest bid. We usually come in on the higher end,
Okay.
but that is it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm able to build value in my sales and in my sales calls and in my estimates. So in terms of pricing, we look at all of the different aspects, and we take into account all of the different procedures that have to go into account, all the different things that we have to do in order to produce the work
Yeah.
the quality that we like to produce. So um, we don't skimp on steps. We don't skip steps. We don't use inappropriate material. We understand the coatings that we use and what we plan on using them for. And that knowledge in itself is worth not being considered like a low a low quality quote, right? So
Yeah.
I can't in good faith pay the people who I'm dealing with. I can't pay them if I'm charging just enough to survive, right? So I have to be able to charge accordingly. So
Yeah.
we not the cheapest painters. I don't know if we're the most expensive, but we normally come in on the higher end because we do typically higher end work.
Okay, okay, and you're totally right about that. I mean, I'm even looking at your website, and if you guys want to take a look at the website, it is redoakpainting.com, and he does have a gallery section, and you can check out the work that he does. So it looks like you work like I see mansions, I see like really high end looking. So people like that have very high quality property are obviously going to want the best. So you're like the Ferrari of painting. That's the best I could say, right? And now, I know that you said that this was your first baby, and you had I think she was born in July of 2012, but then you yourself started the business in March or something, right?
Mhm.
So, how did you get into painting? Why painting?
Well, those are two different answers. So first, how did I get into painting? So when I was a teenager, I had a family friend I'm from Philadelphia.
Okay.
In the family, and I had a family friend. A lot of my uncles, all of my uncles are entrepreneurs or business people or tradespeople or craftspeople. So I developed, I had a knack naturally because the like my bloodline, it was just in my blood to do
Yeah.
this kind of work. You know what I mean? So with
Yeah.
that, but then the other side was I had a family, I had a family friend who was in the labor union in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and he would take me every now and then on the weekends to go paint houses and strip wallpaper. And so I learned how to use a paintbrush when I was 14. And this, a lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people I train now and they don't know how to use a paintbrush. So
Wow.
they're getting that kind of getting just putting a brush, just putting a tool in somebody's hands and letting them learn it at that age. It opens the eyes up to what's
Yeah.
possible, right? And it also so I got into painting because I had family and people who kind of gave me and nudged me in that direction. Entrepreneurship, again, is something that's in my family. A lot of my uncles, like I said, are entrepreneurs or business people. So I had that. But why did I choose painting? When I came to Canada, it was a skill that I had already. And when I came here, we were doing some work in my wife's father's house. So I was helping them. And as we going through it, we get to the stage where we're doing all the plaster work and hanging the drywall and finishing the drywall. And I was good at that because I had some experience. And then we got to the point where we're painting.
Mhm.
And my father-in-law saw the kind of skill that I had, and he told me, like when I first came here, he said, "What's your skill set? You can name your price as a painter anytime, anything in the trade." So
Yeah.
um, that was really what inspired me. So him really telling me that I could put my foot on the gas here with this. It just gave me the inspiration to go forward with it. So in 2012, I opened up the company.
Amazing, amazing. And everybody's watching right now. You can see right there on the Red Oak Painting website, you're able to just get a quick quote, right? So, just for all the tire kickers out there, just want to see what he's all about and see what the prices are. You can go in there, put your name, and he'll give you a call back. And he's on it. He's not one of these people that you leave a message for and I won't call you back for a few days. He'll most likely call you back the same day, if not within a few hours or so.
We try to respond within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours. There you go. See, so you have a metric on that already. Now, that's amazing. So thank you for that, explaining, what kind of got you into this. So that in itself is, inspiring because you were able to utilize, skills that you had. Plus, I totally understand that idea of it being in your blood, entrepreneurship. It's something that, yeah, when you see the independence of family members or people around you, and you're raised in that kind of that environment, it's hard to not be that, right? So
Right.
that makes a lot of sense. Now, and so 10 years, obviously. Now, have there ever been times? I mean, in the beginning, right? With all my clients, especially, we have you have to be in business at least 6 months for us to be able to obtain financing for a business. Now, so every business in the beginning is going to need money unless you come from a rich family.
Mhm.
So, how did you finance your business in the beginning?
Well, in the beginning, it was bootstrapping. I really took to it. I made a little bit of money, and the first thing I did when I decided I was going to be a painter, my first setup, I bought an 18-inch roller. I bought 3 paintbrushes, and I bought a little Pelican. A Pelican bucket is like a little bucket that you can put a paintbrush in and a mini roller. So it's just I bought tools that made me more productive. So the first $150 I spent as a painter, outside the $80 or $100 that I spent setting up my business and getting a business license, outside of that, I spent my first $150 just on paint supplies. And then
Yeah.
I went to Kijiji and I went to Craigslist and I started advertising painter for hire. And so
Really?
yeah, it still works today. Like you can still go on Kijiji or Facebook Live or Facebook Marketplace or
Yeah.
Craigslist, and you can still find painters. You can still find tradesmen and skilled craftsmen. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. That was the first way that I did marketing and advertising for myself, um, and it worked. It worked. So I booked my first client, and it was a good client, long-term client. I was a painter for them for 2 or 3 years as a subcontractor. But and in that time, I just took my money and I reinvested in myself and reinvested in myself. So I started buying my own tools. I was
Yeah.
able to save money and get as many tools as I could.
Mm,
Um, and I bought my first sprayer. I bought my first paint sprayer in 2013. I started
okay.
spraying stuff. I bought my second sprayer in 2014.
Okay.
Um, I bought my third sprayer in 2015, 16.
Yeah.
But so like just buying the machines and investing in the tools with my own money. So I really didn't have financing. I didn't get a business credit card until maybe 3 or 4 years in. I had a
Okay.
business account set up, so I was already showing income and showing profit. And I didn't hire anybody. I was just doing all the work myself,
Yeah.
working 12, 10, 11, 12, 13 hours with a family going home to. So it was tough because my wife, we have children. So it was tough, but um, I made the financial decision to not take any credit and not leverage my business because it was so young and I hadn't really built it yet. I hadn't really shown any proof yet outside of having 2 or 3 clients. So at the
Yeah.
time, I muscled it out and I got it from the muscle. And it's hasn't really changed. I have a business credit card that I use for stuff for like bills and stuff like that. But I still do most of my financing just through my work.
Wow. Okay. And that's amazing. I mean, to see that you're sitting in a vehicle right now, which is probably a company vehicle. You got all this equipment. You got the paint. You got your supplies there. You got your branded shirt. And this all started off 10 years ago with $150, right?
Yeah,
And there's something to be said about the dream because there's nothing that proves that $150 that you spent and you invested was going to turn into this. Not like you could have spent that and maybe the first job went bad and then now you got to pay and keep paying. So and you stuck with it because obviously we're gonna get to it, but obviously there had to have been challenges, right?
What,
So
what I would say, what I
yeah,
would say is to that, the challenges is one thing, but just being committed to what your mission is. And another thing in terms of just how I did financing, the way that I set myself up as a sole proprietor, that meant any money that I made, I could count as income, but also I get to write so much off.
yeah,
So most of the tools that I buy, I don't have to because I have a business license and I'm showing I can write off my vehicle. I can write off part of my home because I use it as an office and and I use part of my home as an office and stuff like so you get savings in setting up and being a sole proprietor as opposed to just kind of going out here and just doing it on your own
yeah.
unlicensed.
Amazing. And you grew. I mean, you grew organically. So and that is the best way, the most self-fulfilling way in terms of growth. I mean, obviously, you can just dump money into the business. But I mean, like, I can. I'm assuming, because I'm in finance. That like, let's say you had $10,000 now, as opposed to $10,000 10 years ago. You would definitely be able to put that money towards something more productive now because you've
Yeah,
been through it, right? As opposed to 10 years ago. Now, so you got a business credit card, and I one of the things I just and I try to ask bankers about this, and they never can answer me. Is a business credit card. So a credit card is revolving credit, so it works the same way as a credit card. I mean, sorry, as a line of credit. But a line of credit doesn't necessarily have a card. It's not branded. There's no benefits to it or whatnot. But you're looking at 5% for a line of credit and 20% for a credit card. Now, when you got your business credit card, did you ask first for a line of credit and then they said, "Oh, we can't do that, but we can do this"? Or how did it work when you obtained it? Did they approach you or you approached them?
to be quite honest with you, um Neil, I walked into the bank and I just said I want a business credit card, and they gave me one.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, it was, but it wasn't like, it's not like, it wasn't like a high limit. It's maybe a $1,500 limit or something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
But I had to still they wouldn't have given it to me without having being able to show that I'm able to produce and make money and save money and be cash flow positive, I guess is the way to say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so but I use it now as just a way I pay bills through it, and a
Mhm.
lot of the stuff that I use to pay it is on auto pay. So that's a way to build my credit, really without me having to um use the resource of that credit without me having to ruin it or run the mistake of run the risk of overusing it or over leveraging myself with the credit card. So I use it to pay bills, and then I pay them off immediately, and my credit just builds and maintains the rating that I need it to be in, so that when I'm ready to upgrade it, when I'm ready to push up and get a higher line of credit or a higher credit limit,
Yeah.
they won't give me any problems, right?
Mhm. Did you go for any other type of financing before that, or was that the first time that you would approach the bank?
That's the first time I had approached the bank. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really think that I needed credit, because at that point, in the trades, especially in this area with the demand that we have, a lot of work is cash business. So having
Mhm.
a credit card or having a business credit is helpful, but if you're in a situation where you're just trying to survive, it's not necessary. I think when you get to the point where you want to scale,
Yeah.
that's when having credit and having all of those things established really start mattering and really start to take precedent over a lot of the other stuff. Like, it gets to a point where you maybe not want to accept cash because you need to show income. So you want to make sure you either put that cash in the bank or you take a check instead, or you get an e-transfer. That way, you don't run the risk of temptations of, well, I got paid 5 grand. I'm just going to keep 2,500 and deposit this 2,500.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it limits your temptation to take money out as opposed to keeping money in the business and growing it.
Yeah, man. Honestly, you're spitting game right now, and I hope everybody watching is actually paying close attention to this because as a contractor, and I will say, and because I talk to our people all the time, and they're into, whether HVAC or painting or drywall, anything like that. Any contractor we call key expansion industries, KEI. So there's a lot of cash heavy transport, things like that. So I'm always telling people to deposit their money, deposit, deposit, deposit. I mean, you can deposit it and take the money out right away, but there has to be some sort of paper trail to show because at the end of the day, I know guys that are doing, 50,000 or 100,000 a month, but you look at their bank statements and it says 5,000, but
Right,
they're trying to convince me that they do the 50,000, but I can't. But what can you show me that? I mean, that invoice here, but you can't just put the money in your pocket. Now, in terms of scaling, yes, if you want to be able to grow your business and you want to be able to scale it, you will be, and people can be qualified for a higher amount of money through their business than they can as a personal person, right? So definitely, yeah, depositing your money, building up a commercial credit is extremely important too as well. And yeah, so that's really, and also no NSF. So being cash flow positive, and then the name of the podcast, In the Black. So obviously we're
right,
black, but in the black also means being profitable too.
right.
So being a black business to me is just being a profitable business. So I'm glad, and I really hope people are paying attention to that. So that's amazing. Now, what would you say your biggest challenges have been through the business?
Uh, the the Well, there are a lot of challenges. All of them you overcome as you go, right? As if you stay with it long enough. But right now, the challenge that we're going through, right now, the challenge my company is going through is expansion and growth. So scaling and then finding skilled trades and finding skilled painters. The
So
work that we do, right? The work that we like in the trades. Um, there's a job shortage, but
Mhm.
it's not really a job shortage. Really, what it really is, in my opinion, is a skill shortage. There are a lot of people who are looking for work. There aren't as many skilled trades or experienced hands. Painting is one thing, but then you look at HVAC, you look at tile setting, you look at you look at soffits and doing eaves. All of these businesses have the same things in common, where the people who have been doing it for a long period of time, it's hard for them to find people to replace them. So as we scale, we want to get people to replace us, right? So I started out as just a painter.
Yeah.
And in order for me to grow into my business to grow, I had to remove myself as just a painter. So that means I had to find somebody who I could get to replace me as the painter so that I could step away and become the estimator and still the admin and still do this and that. And then when I get to the point I have more than one painter, so now I don't have to do that much of the work. Now I get the chance to step back and focus more on estimates and focus more on setting things up. And eventually you work yourself out of that part. So you can hire an estimator. So that's the part I'm in now, is scaling and finding people who are qualified and who are experienced to fill some of the roles that I have still, that I'm still doing. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's not really a challenge that I can't overcome. It's just a matter of me still going through it and still processing. My business is still only 10 years. Like when we look at business, I think one of the mistakes that we make is we assume that when you start something, the first year you're supposed to be uber successful. In the second year, you're supposed to be a millionaire. In the third year, you be able to retire on what you made. And that's just not realistic. So building a business 10 years is nothing. When you look at a company like Sherwin-Williams, who started as two guys painting, um, and they ended up starting a company. They created a can. All of the paint cans that are sold are licensed by Sherwin-Williams. So anytime a paint can is sold, they receive a profit, or that's how they become the biggest paint company in the world. But that's 120, 130 years, 150 years of business. So we're
Yeah.
looking at 10 years like that's a long time, but in reality, it's a blip. The
Yeah.
oldest business in the world is 1,500 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
true.
10 years is nothing in terms of business, but that is something, because a lot of people fail in the first 5.
Mm.
So I'm proud of the fact that I've been able to work through whatever challenges I've had in the past, but I still see a whole bunch of stuff that I can fix and I can retool and I can redo it. So the challenge is just maintaining what you have and evolving past what you are already.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
been my biggest challenge.
Wow. Okay. So you're not even looking at it as a challenge. It's almost like, just kind of not a challenge. I see how
It's
what
just a bridge to cross. We on the journey. It's a bridge to cross.
journey. Yeah. So you're looking at it just a part of the journey. So you're not. This isn't exclusive to just you. I talk to contractors all day, every day, and everyone's asking where the workers are, right?
Yeah.
So you're basically saying, the skills aren't there, and I think over time, as other things start emerging in terms of jobs and other ways for people to make money, we are going to see. But then that makes you more valuable too, as well, right?
Right.
But yeah, I can understand, because there was this concept of working in your business and working on your business. And, we get caught up, and I get caught up too, working in the business, but then there's other things I have to do to step away from. And only now am I kind of getting, other people to kind of, help out. But I'm one of those people that like to kind of, I like to be hands-on too as well. And that in itself can hold you back. But yeah, no, that's amazing. So I like the positive attitude, and definitely that is a key in terms of being successful, for sure. Now, what did you wish you knew before starting the business?
I wish I knew the importance of having help. And that's just help with the labor, that's help with the admin stuff, just having people who are having a support team. Like when I started, I figured I could do it all myself. And so that's and I think we all do that, because you get into this, I'm self-employed, right? You say it like that. I'm self-employed. I work for myself, but you don't realize you self-employed only on paper. You still work for everybody who pays you.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
being able to fulfill orders and being able to get stuff done. So um, you know, we do what we can, but it is. I'll be honest with you. I forgot the question. I started talking there.
It's basically, how would you what did you know before starting the business? And you
Before
talked.
I started, okay, I apologize. So before I started, I wish, like I said, I wish I knew more about who I could hire, and like how important it is to bring people in. As I said before, if you want to scale, when I started the business, I initially thought of what my plan would be 5 years out and what I would be like 10 years out.
Yeah.
And there are some areas where I hit the mark. There are some areas where I missed the mark, and I'm still shooting for it, right? So we here, and but what I wish I knew when I first started was having systems, and then being able to put people in place to have those systems work for you. So
Uh,
that's what I mean. So when you say working in the business and working on the business, I worked in the business to learn the skill, and I appreciate the fact that I was hard-headed enough to learn the skill, because now there's nothing you can't tell me about this industry that I don't either already know or I can't quickly research, or I don't have a point of reference to call on and figure the situation out. So um, those parts I have no issues with, but just putting people in place and having systems set up so that when I get the information, I'm able to pass it on to the people who I have working for me, and things work smoother. So I wish I had known about how important systems were and people filling those systems and filling those roles.
Amazing. And you know what? That gives us brings us to our halfway point where we got to take a little bit of a break and pay the bills. And so we'll be back. Thank you guys for tuning in, but we'll be back in about 2 minutes again with Leonard Johnson from Red Oak Painting.
Welcome to BIA, Canada's top black media provider. Whether you're looking for shows on fashion, art, music, or simple lifestyle, we bring you the best content the black community in Canada has to offer and so much more. And better yet, do you have an idea for a project you'd like us to help you with? We provide equipment, studio, and office space, as well as a team of dedicated individuals to help you bring those ideas to life. So don't wait. Check out our new website at biamedia.ca for more information on how to contact us and start creating today. BIA Media, your way.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, and it is Black Canada Talking Time. Black Canada Talking is a live online event that provides Black Canadians the opportunity to give their takes on stories, POVs that are of importance to them, or we showcase Black Canadians are doing their thing.
Depends on the institution, and that's one of the consistencies of inconsistency, for lack of a better word.
And I continue to learn the oppression and the continuance of sexism.
Journalism practiced by blacks in the 80s in Toronto, and opportunities that were there for them, or the lack of opportunities that was there for them.
His plans for certain projects, and this project is definitely on his list of things I can see happening this year.
God bless, peace well, keep the faith, and walk good.
Ottawa's Black Business Alliance, a place where you can learn to be your own person and build the future you want for yourself. Our mission is to help young entrepreneurs achieve their business goals through the best coaching, managing, consulting, and a slew of other services. Together, we can become a pillar in the Afro-Canadian community. Don't hesitate to contact us through our website at www.oba.ca, and remember that building tomorrow starts today. OBA Consulting. Take hold of your future.
Welcome back, everybody, to In the Black, Getting Black to Business. And this is the third episode, and we are here with the expert of commercial and residential painting, Leonard Johnson from Red Oak Painting. All right, welcome back, Leo from Red Oak. So Leo, what we were talking about before is what you wish you knew, and you talked about just in terms of how important systems are, and I think that is efficiency and productivity too as well. So that's amazing. Now I had another question. Where do you see your business in 5 years?
In 5 years, my company is fully staffed. We have a fully operational facility, and we're doing all of the things that I've already been doing. I'm scaling it up. So
okay.
We already have built up a pretty decent reputation for interior custom painting. We have a pretty good reputation for kitchen cabinet refinishing. We have a good reputation. So there are a lot of different parts of a business, especially in the trades, a lot of different things you can do. So I offer full service. So like I said before, we do epoxy finishes on floors and garages and basements. We also do kitchen cabinet refinishing and furniture refinishing. We do interior custom painting. We do residential repaints. We also paint renovations. I do popcorn ceiling removal or ceiling resurfacing. I also do exterior deck staining. I also do interior staircase refinishing. So we restrip and restain staircases. So in that, in each one of those parts, could be a business all unto itself. So it's not necessarily that you don't necessarily have to do all of those things to be profitable or be successful. But in my business, the skill set that I've gained, I can do all of those things. So I would love to be able to scale each one of those departments and grow them all the way out to their fullest potential in my business.
Okay.
So I see myself doing that in 5 years.
Okay.
Where I am now.
Very ambitious, though. Very ambitious. Now, there's this idea that it's better somehow to just be specialized, right? As opposed to being, but I mean, in that sense, things do look transferable, right? Like it just kind of makes sense. So, how do you know that you're not taking on too much? How do you know that you're doing things that are like a line extension of what you originally do, as opposed to you saying, okay, well, I need to do this and I need to do that. How do you make that? How do you decipher between the two?
Well, when we talk about painter, it's a real generalized term. Like, so even in painter, there's about maybe 10 niches. So one niche inside the overall industry of painting is industrial industrial finishing. So people who finish kitchen cabinets in shops, people who paint in factories, who do line assemblies, who paint like chairs and tables, and people who paint furniture in shops. Those are considered painters. There's people who paint cars. They're considered painters. They do a lot with machines now, but there are still people who refinish cars by hand. A lot of that is switched over to machine and mechanized stuff. But even in that, so spray painting is just a niche. A lot of people who only use spray painting machines. You have people who only do kitchen cabinets. Their business is to go on site and refinish kitchens. That's one niche. People who only do repaints. People who only do apartment rentals. And like, so even in painting, there are a lot of different niches. But where I'm different and where my company is different is that my experience in all of those areas, I'm able to bring them all together. And as I said, in terms of like building systems, the system is here. So now it's just a matter of me transcribing it and putting it on paper, putting it into a program, and hiring people who are competent and can reproduce the work that I've already done. Amazing. So that's where I am. And again, it's not something that is super hard to do. It's just you have to be committed to it, and you have to actually want it to succeed. And that's all it takes to be successful, is just the will to do it and the will to want to succeed at it.
That's true. That's 100% true. 100% true. Thank you for that. Okay, now what do you think we could be doing? The Black community could be doing better as a community in terms of business to help each other.
I'll be honest with you, Lob. When you're doing it now, like I don't know how much information there was out there 10 years ago when I first started about business and about what we were able to get access to as Black folks. It's not like we could go so many places we could go with this conversation. But the reality is in business, even access to loans, access to capital, access to information, a lot of that stuff was hidden, or was kind of kept only for people who either established it or already studied it and had no intention on sharing it with anybody. But what you do and what other people are doing is kind of giving light and shining light on different industries and providing people with a model of possibility. So everybody doesn't have to be a painter, but some of the principles from being an entrepreneur and being a painter and being in this industry, they carry anywhere. Some like sales. I didn't learn how to do sales from being a painter. I had other sales jobs, so I learned how to talk to people. I learned how to connect with people. I learned how to identify. But you get all of that information. Now, me being able to give that information to somebody else. So mentoring and sharing information, I think, two of the things that we can do, and I think we are doing a lot better. Another thing is be honest with you, man, is the competition amongst us. Like, we don't have to compete, bro. We can be collaborators. We don't have to compete. We can complement each other's business. There are situations where I'm not able to get to every job. I'm one person. I have a small crew now, right? I don't have like 30 people, so I can't get to every job. But knowing that I have people in my network that I can refer work to, and I know who they are, and so those things are important. Like being able to network and sharing information, and instead of competing and holding information and holding and holding a connect from people. Like, explore the option of doing joint ventures, explore the option of creating networks and building networks and keeping them strong, and not backbiting and not like
Yeah,
competing and being secretly competitive with each other.
yeah.
So those things I think we can eliminate and do better in terms of just um, complementing each other's businesses, collaborating more, and sharing more information.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, you know what? You weren't joking. That because you touched on a few things there. That yeah, I'm gonna just maybe we'll have another episode and we can talk specifically about that. But you are 100% right about that. Collaboration is key. Competitiveness. You know, there's also obviously friendly competitiveness, but being able to collaborate, and I think that all comes down to trust. I think obviously historically we were been taught, and I'm not going to get into too much of the history and the psychology behind it, but we were kind of taught to kind of be against each other, and some of those things have kind of evolved into our current time. But I do think, as you had mentioned before on the other topic, that we are getting better on that. So I'd like to see that continue to change, and I think it is as well. But really good insight on that for sure. Now, you're at a house right now, which is residential. And so you are also doing commercial painting as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of businesses, is there a particular type of commercial entity or type of industry that you want to work with, like offices or warehouse? Like what is your ideal client?
Well, my ideal client at this moment are builders. So people who build homes and
Mhm.
who build luxury homes and who need high quality and high end painting and finishing.
Okay.
Those are I love doing custom homes because of the challenges that they present. And I'm one of them people. I see a challenge and I don't really look, like I said before, I don't look at it like a mountain to climb up. It's really just a bridge to cross.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll give you an example. My ideal client. I'll give you an example of one of my clients who's the ideal client. One of my good clients owns 2 or 3 businesses, has 2 or 3 homes in the family that all need work periodically. Also has rental properties that also need painting and maintenance work done. People who have multiple properties, project managers, people who manage multiple facilities and multiple properties, or manage one large facility that has a lot of different pieces that need things done as time goes on. So property managers, builders, project managers, those are the people I like working with. I do not turn down anybody, though. I won't turn down the mom who works and needs her house painted. I don't turn down the people, the elderly couple who they on a budget, so we have to make, like, I'm not one of those people who shun people because of the price point. I understand what it's like to have nothing and still need work done.
Mhm.
So, being empathetic and trying to and having compassion for people and meeting them where they are, it's important. But I work with anybody. The budget is the budget. If we're able to make numbers match,
Mhm.
then it's a beautiful thing. But the reality is, my ideal client is anybody who needs a paint job.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. So you guys hear it first. If you need painting on any scale, Red Oak Painting is, who you should contact first. It, we'll just make it work in terms of whatever your budget is. And you guys could, hammer it out and figure out how to make it, how to complete the job for everybody to be happy. Amazing. Now what is, where, you talked about mentorship, right?
Mhm.
And now, do you yourself have a mentor?
I've had quite a few in my life. Right now, I would count 2 people I have now as mentors.
Okay, okay. Are they paint in the paint industry too? Are they business owners?
Business owners, and in the trades.
Yeah, yeah. And how important is mentorship?
Oh my God. You can't put a value on information,
Ooh.
especially from somebody experienced. Like, if you have I've talked about this before, but if you know somebody who is on and living like in their purpose, even if it's not in the same thing that you do, it could be just somebody who is dedicated to whatever it is that they're doing. The principles that they have will fit. It will translate into anything. The people who are dedicated and who are aware of who they are and what their mission and what their purpose is can mentor anybody. But me personally, a good one of my mentors now is a builder, and it's somebody I do a lot of work. I spoke to him this morning. Somebody I do a lot of work with I've done a lot of work with over the course of the years. And I get a lot of insight from him, and just about the industry and about life and things like that. So it's good to have a mentor. I found myself mentoring other people too. So
Yeah.
I understand the importance of it and the value in it, and that's why I don't have a problem giving information away. So people call me all the time and ask for extra information, or ask for, how do we do this, or what should I do here, or what should I use here. And I consider all of that part of mentorship, passing that information along, because to me it's like I feel stupid withholding it from you. I feel stingy. I get more out of sharing that with you, because I know now you know you could trust me. I know that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes more sense. So I have no issue sharing. So I've mentored people in there, like, not trying to, but just been a person who was able to give advice. And I'm always open to receiving it. I'm a lifelong learner, so I don't look at it like you can't teach me anything. I've learned more from I learned a lot from people who are not necessarily considered like the darlings in society. And you learn a lot from everywhere. I'm one of the people who learn from everywhere. So I mentor and I have been mentored.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, it's invaluable. Like you said, you can't put a number, you can't put a price on mentorship. It's I think a real value too. I mean, other than people who just kind of like, want to hear themselves talk, like myself, but there are people that don't really have to. So there's a value that the mentee has to bring to the mentor. But it's really a very valuable relationship. Now, in terms of like you being a mentor, how would say a mentee approach you? Like, how would someone come and say, "Hey, man, I like what you're doing"? Like, how would they approach you for you to take them on as a mentee?
Just you can call me.
Yeah.
You can call me.
All you ask, right?
I'll be honest with you. I'm telling you, a lot of people call me all the time and ask me for information, or ask me how would I do this, or what should I do here. I have no issues giving up information, especially like I like to meet people and talk to people. So it's not really a bad thing. If somebody wants to get in contact with me, you can send me an email. I give my phone number out freely. It's on my shirts.
Yeah.
I put my phone number on the internet all the time. So I'm always in contact with people, and I'm always easily accessible. But people who are like young people, or people who want to get into the industry, what I would say to them is the most important thing you want to do is get a skill set, like learn your craft. And that comes before you make money. Most times people, especially young people now, I would have to tell young folks now who are looking for ways to get into the industry, to find somebody who's willing to teach you. But then you have to be a gracious student. Again, it comes back to gratitude. A person who has been doing this for however long they've been doing it, they consider themselves a master, they consider themselves a skilled craftsman, experienced, whatever. If they're taking the time out to show you something, be gracious enough to listen, and be humble enough to not think that you deserve the world at first. So anybody who I would mentor, or anybody who I've accepted help from, I always approached it humbly. Like, I'm not trying to get over on you. I'm not trying to side you. I'm not trying to one up you, and I'm not trying to get over on you. I'm really in the process of learning, and I'm learning even as I'm teaching, because I'm learning about myself, right? So if you want to talk to me, you can call me 647-870-7506. My number is always available. People call me all the time.
Oh, I love it. That's amazing.
There's no bill collectors or no what you call it, telemarketers, please. But no window cleaning, no duct cleaning, please. But
that's
but I leave myself open, because I understand the value. I understand the importance. I get so much free information from the world, so I would feel foolish holding back what I know from people who are seeking information.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. And now, so I like the idea of being able to know that you can network, and sorry about that. Yeah, there's a little bit of the phones are still ringing in the office. The phones are still ringing. But now, in terms of like, because I mean, obviously having kids and having a family is one way of finding, that passion, that motivation to push you. But other than that, what would you say your support system comes from? Where's your core support from?
My wife.
Yeah. So she motivates you, tells you to get up, or like how does it work?
I don't need motivation for getting up.
Yeah.
But I really need time. I need, a lot of times, me being who I am, I need to be told to stop. And
Oh.
that's a different mindset. When you like, I don't need anybody to motivate me to go. A lot of times I need to be reminded that I can't do it all, and I can't do it all the time, and I have to stop. So um a person for me, like motivation or whatever, I need more grounding because I'm already motivated. I wake up motivated. I have a lot of stuff I do before 6 or before
Yeah.
8 o'clock. I've already done 30 things in
Yeah.
reality. Like if I had to count each task before 8:30, I've done
8
probably
a.m. You
35
come like
things.
8:30 a.m., right?
Yeah, well, I wake up
Yeah.
at between 5:30 and 6 most mornings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have 4 children, so there's 4 teeth to brush, there's 4 faces to wash, there's 4 times you get a kid dressed. Sometimes it's 4 or 3 lunches to make.
Yeah.
There's beds to make up. There's a lot of stuff to do before I become Leo the painter, right? I'm the dad. I'm daddy. So
Mhm.
when I wear that hat, there's still a lot of things that have to get done. So you can't really separate church and state when you are entrepreneur. There always going to be some overflow or some overlap. So
Mm.
you deal with stuff when you're out in the world. You deal with family issues when you with your family. There are issues that come up with the
Yeah.
business, and you have to be able to manage and balance. I don't think is a real thing, but finding harmony, I realize, is more important than balance. Because if you have a work and a life, you have a balance. But it can be imbalanced, but finding harmony amongst the
Yeah.
flow of things is
Balance. Yeah.
important.
And now, in terms of your industry, now I know that you went in, and it was about 2-3 years before you got your business, your commercial credit card from the bank. Now, do you feel, and what do you feel the banks or our banking system could be doing better in terms of helping contractors or people in business? What do you think? Do you think that there's anything they can do? What can they do?
I think that the banks could do more of uh the what my answer to that would be. It would be a little bit more on contractors and people in the trades. But the banks can help, is helping people secure home loans and mortgage loans who are in the trades, because it's hard for people who are self-employed
That's
to
true.
it's really hard for people who are self-employed to get mortgage loans,
Yeah.
because again, we have to report our income. And if you it's again, that's why I say part of it goes back to the trade. If you're not reporting your income, and if you're not showing that you're making money and that you're profitable, it's going to be hard to get a loan. But
Mhm.
the amount of hurdles that you have to jump through when you're a self-employed person who doesn't have a pension, who doesn't have a 401k, even
Yeah.
if you have a retirement fund that you set up
All
or an
that.
investment fund that you set up,
Yeah.
having those things, they still don't help you secure a mortgage.
Mm.
So you have to use B lenders. So it would be nicer to go to a bank where you can get a fair rate and you get a fair shot with a reputable company that a bank, even if it's, how people like to say bad things about the bank, but we all put our money in it. So
Mm.
the trust is still high. We would like for them to give us a little bit more leeway in terms of trying to get homes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I mean, yeah, like for my qualifying for a mortgage, you have to have more than that 10% down. It's like 20% down. You have to have your T1s and your T1s and your T2s all taken care of, all your taxes done. Show a certain amount of income and show for a certain period of time. So your personal taxes and your business taxes have to be done. And you're right, man. And when you really think about it, businesses, we have that freedom, but now, you have 4 kids. These 4 kids have to go to the dentist. These 4 kids might need some sort of insurance and benefits, need glasses and things like that too as well. And that might be easy when you have a job that has an insurance package. And even, with your employees at some point in time, maybe in 5 years, you want to be able to offer them that too as well. So it is a lot harder. And you're right. I mean, there's a lot of things I feel the banks could be doing better, but that in terms of helping out business owners in their personal life, I think is something that's very overlooked, actually. So that
Yeah.
is a very good point. Very good point. Okay. And now, would you be open to, let's say, like franchising, right?
Well, yeah.
And would your business be franchisable? Because obviously right now you have subcontractors, but let's say you want to open a red oak painting over on the West Coast in BC, right? How would you do it? Would you have to, I guess, get a facility there, and how would it work?
All right. Well, I want to say like it's maybe 10 companies in the world that's painted. Maybe I don't know, maybe 10 companies in Canada that are franchise painters,
Yeah.
franchise painting companies. So it's not difficult. The issue again comes back to scalability for most painting companies. If you research, most painting companies are one-man operations. It's thousands of painting companies. Most of them are one-man operations. Most of them, or their family businesses, less than 4 or 5 employees, and we do all the work, right? So, you know, scaling in that sense is just moving from one crew to having 2 crews. That's a scale. That's scaling up. So when we talk about franchising, having a market share in the area that you're working in. If you plan on franchising, systems have to be in place. In my opinion, you have to be able to establish systems. So we're going through now and we building out standard operating procedures. So we're building SOPs. So,
SOPs.
yeah.
Yes.
So to paint a room, we have it's 8 steps. I did a post one time on Instagram a year or 2 ago for custom homes. To finish a custom door, there are 14 steps. So one custom door, there are 14 steps to finishing a custom door if you spray painting it, right? So in order for I can say that I can teach that to somebody, to say this is what you do, 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 and then you do these next steps. But it's a lot easier for me to teach it to somebody or for them to actually get the message when it's stipulated and it's in a program and it's all set up, and all you have to do is look at it and follow the steps. So scaling a lot of times comes down to having systems in place and then being able to teach those systems.
Yes, and that is the key.
But that's only one part of it. Scaling also involves marketing. So you have to be able to find out who your niche is. You might have one industry in this area. You might have one niche in this area that is, pushing 80% of your work. And if you go to another area, the market share for that particular thing might not be there. So you have to figure out what the market cares about and what the market wants. The market is going to dictate how well you do as a painter, because how well you market, because it's going to tell you what you need to be advertising for, what you need to be targeting. So, you have to look at all of it. You have to be able to look at your company, and you have to be able to look at marketing and how you're planning on pushing your company to, the next market that you go into. So scaling is something I do want to do, and I see a vision for it. I'm one of them people, I can see the end line, I can see the finish line, but I can also look at all of the steps that comes back to where I am now in order to get there. So I know where it takes for me to scale and to a point where I'm franchising. I just have to now go through those steps and get there.
That's true. And you have to be able to see it first to be able to get there. So that's amazing. And now in terms of because we're going to be closing soon, we're almost at that 2-minute mark now. But I wanted to talk about you having 4 kids now. Is your business something that you want to eventually bring your kids into? Or is it something that you're just building now to just give them the freedom to be able to do what they want in the future?
Initially, my business was started to support my daughter.
Okay.
So I wasn't going to be an employee, because I didn't think that I would be able to make enough money in like a 40-hour work week, working for somebody else. I didn't think I would be able to make enough money to support my daughter and give her the life that I wanted to give her. So I started a company, and before she was born, I had already mapped out what I needed to do. So I did that instead of going to getting a job. But after that, my daughter told me she wanted to paint. My daughter becomes an artist. So she's now an artist. So she draws, she does art, she paints. She's also a dancer. My daughter is amazing. My 2 sons and my youngest daughter, and my son told me he also wanted to paint. So, I get them doing little things here and there. So it became something where I'm just using it to support them. And as I learn who they are and who they might become, it might be something that they take from me. And I appreciate that, because I don't know how many people, I know a lot of people have businesses and their kids don't want to get involved in it. So I'm grateful that I started something that my kids see value in, and see value in not losing once I'm not doing it anymore. They want to keep it going. So even at 10 years old, hopefully she keeps that inspiration. She hopes she keep that inkling, but just knowing that it's there, it just keeps me motivated to go further and do more.
That is amazing. That is super inspirational. And I have to thank you again, Leonard Johnson from Red Oak Painting, for taking the time to interview. And everybody, if you haven't been convinced that he's the best painter in the world, go check out the website, redoakpainting.com. He's got his phone number plastered all over the website. And as he's mentioned before, no telemarketers, but you can always call him at 647-870-7506. And check out the website there, as well as up at facebook.com, redoakpainting.com, instagram.com/redoakpainting. He's all over the internet. I just wanted to say thank you again, brother. And, if there's anything you need from us, let us know. And every time I need anything painted, I'll definitely call you for sure.
For sure, bro. No problem. Appreciate it.
Okay, and shout out to BIA Media again for giving us this platform for us to celebrate our melanated merchants. And until next time, next Wednesday, we'll have another special guest for you guys. And tune in, and and we'll see you then.